Kherson, in the south of Ukraine. A city now back under Ukrainian control, but under constant attack by the Russian military. When Russian forces retreated last October, they took civilians with them. This woman saw soldiers evacuating children from the orphanage opposite her home.
There were 3 big white buses just in front of the gate. There was also an armored vehicle in front of the entrance. They blocked off the area. They were armed and wouldn't let anyone come near. They even checked mobile phones to make sure no one was filming. Everyone was shocked, but there was nothing we could do. They kidnapped these children and deported them.
They took 48 children, the youngest not even a year old. At the time, Kherson's Russian-appointed deputy mayor called it a rescue mission.
We saved these children, they're now safe. The director of the orphanage is with them. Everything's fine. Believe me, our goal is to save lives and to think about our children's futures.
But the orphanage's real director, who's also the children's legal representative, wasn't with them because she'd been replaced by a pro-Russian. We spoke to her by phone.
Ну, конечно, я ж не согласилась работать. Несколько раз мне предлагала, но я отказалась. Я ж понятно, что буду препятствовать ихним действиям. Вони мене уволили.
This is what became of those children. They're pictured in Crimea alongside Vladimir Putin's Commissioner for Children's Rights. Propaganda videos of Maria Lvova-Belova have proliferated since Russia's large-scale invasion of Ukraine. She oversees the transfer of orphans from occupied Ukrainian territory to foster families in Russia.
All of the city's hospitals are targeted. That's where the first shell hit, on that window. Another landed a bit further.
In Kherson's Children's Hospital, doctors risk their lives to come to work.
Another shell fell here. It crashed through the window and pierced this wall. It was on New Year's Eve. 7 missiles landed here. The hospital was bombarded 3 times. We keep coming to work because there's no one else. We're the only ones left.
But before the Russian retreat last October, they faced a different kind of threat.
Here's our intensive care unit. That used to be our laboratory.
This is where hospital staff hid 10 orphans from Russian forces.
We put beds and heating here. Over there, we prepared their food. We barricaded ourselves in and locked the door to prevent anyone coming in from the hall.
After giving the order to retreat, every morning Russian military commanders came to the hospital. They told staff to hand over lists of children to evacuate. But doctors prepared fake documents and put ventilators next to children's beds, tricking the Russians into thinking they couldn't be taken away.
Of course we were scared. It was a huge risk for the hospital and for the staff. But everyone finds their own way to defend Ukraine. It was our way of defending our country.
A decent country doesn't invade your home with tanks. For every country, the most important thing is its children. So everyone must do whatever they can to defend them.
Russian forces also came here on the outskirts of Kherson to this boarding school for orphans and children under guardianship. Its director hid the children amongst families and employees.
This is the function room, where we organize events like concerts and where we celebrate New Year. These are the photos of the 52 children we were able to hide during the occupation. The war in Ukraine has been going on for 8 years now. We already saw what happened in Donetsk and Luhansk, how they took children away. We know the history of the Soviet Union, how Crimean Tatars and Ukrainians were deported to Siberia. That's how we knew that we could suffer a similar fate.
Last year in summer, Russian troops turned up for the first time.
Here's their car, with soldiers and FSB agents. The first thing they asked was, "Where are the children?" They kept saying the same thing, "Tell us where the children are."
He lied to cover up their whereabouts. A little over a month later, Russian authorities asked him to shelter 15 orphans and their director, who'd been evacuated from the front line.
These are the children. They brought them here on military vehicles. The children were frightened. They thought they were being taken to Russia. They lived with us for 3 months. Then, on October 19th, when the Russians withdrew from Kherson, they took the children with them. We didn't have any say in the matter. I asked the soldiers to leave the children until the next day at least. They need time to prepare, I said. They aren't soldiers. They're just children.
With the help of international NGOs, these children were eventually brought back. But so far, only a tiny proportion of those who ended up in Russia have returned. Ukraine says that Moscow has only handed back 307 children out of the more than 16,000 who left for Russia.